Guys,
and
like
it
the
proves
video,
that
hype the
something
video.
special
We
is
finna
brewing
get
in
into
Indiana.
this one, man. So the game is in the final seconds right now. Look like the Indiana Fever is about to leave this road trip 3-4, I believe. They only lost one game, and that was to the LA Sparks. But overall, I cannot be mad with the performance by the Indiana Fever, man. I just have to be honest with you guys. The final score of the game is 109-75.
We have to begin with the biggest story of the night, because what Sophie Cunningham accomplished on that floor deserves to be celebrated from every corner of the basketball world, no matter what else appears in the box score. Cunningham has been one of the most talked about, scrutinized, and polarizing players on this Indiana Fever roster all season long. Music every week has brought a new debate surrounding her game, from questions about her contract situation and her fearless enforcer mentality to the dramatic highs and lows of her shooting performances. We've seen her battle through a difficult -18 outing against the New York Liberty, only to answer with an outstanding +13 performance against the Atlanta Dream. Consistency has remained the biggest question hanging over every conversation about her role in the rotation. But not tonight. Tonight, there was no uncertainty, no inconsistency, no debate. Tonight, Sophie Cunningham delivered the most devastatingly efficient shooting display by any Fever player this entire season. She became an absolute human flamethrower, torching one of the league's toughest defenses by knocking down an incredible 7 of her 9 field goal attempts while connecting on an astonishing 6 of 7 shots from beyond the three-point line. That's an unbelievable 85.7% from deep against the defending champions. She erupted for 20 points while posting an extraordinary +30 rating in only 23 minutes on the floor. Walking into the home arena of the reigning champions, Cunningham completely shattered Las Vegas' defensive game plan with relentless confidence and elite perimeter shooting. Every timely three-pointer fueled Indiana's momentum and established her as the undeniable spark that ignited one of the franchise's most dominant victories in recent memory. But while Sophie was lighting up the scoreboard, another major storyline demanded attention, because it's time to put one of the loudest narratives circulating across social media to rest. Music. Before tip-off, countless posts claimed Kelsey Mitchell was playing selfish basketball. Critics argued she wasn't moving the ball, that she was slowing the offense into isolation possessions, and that Indiana's attack was suffering because she supposedly prioritized scoring over creating opportunities for her teammates. The numbers tell a completely different story. WNBA Pro reviewed every possession, every play, and every statistical category, and the evidence overwhelmingly dismantles that narrative. Tonight, Kelsey Mitchell didn't simply put points on the board. She orchestrated the offense at an elite level, finishing with an outstanding 8 assists. Take a moment to appreciate that number. 8 assists from Mitchell, combined with 6 assists from Caitlin Clark, gave Indiana's 2 starting guards a remarkable 14 combined assists in a game, where the Fever exploded for 109 points. That isn't selfish basketball. That's winning basketball. Mitchell silenced the criticism with a complete all-around performance built on smart decisions, unselfish ball movement, and relentless offensive pressure. She moved the basketball with outstanding vision, found open teammates with pinpoint accuracy, attacked the paint whenever defenders overcommit, and still scored efficiently by shooting 8 of 16 from the field on her way to 27 points. To cap it all off, she was flawless at the free throw line, knocking down every one of her 8 attempts and putting the finishing touches on a performance that showcased exactly why this Fever backcourt has become one of the most dangerous offensive combinations in the WNBA.
Before this game here really wasn't too good for her. Man, why come it's not letting me pull up the box score, bro? Where's the box score, bro? Let's pull up the box score real quick, guys. As we pull up the box score here, man, the Indiana Fever went to Las Vegas and put belt to ass. Whole lot of BTA going down, man. Monique Billings, 25 points, 10 25 minutes played, 10 rebounds, 3 of 6 from the field, 101 from 3.
Now, when we zoom out and look at the bigger picture of the season, music, it's only fair to recognize the circumstances Kelsey Mitchell has been playing through. During Caitlin Clark's recent music injury absences, Mitchell was forced to shoulder an even greater share of the offensive responsibility. She became the unquestioned first option. Music, the player defenses keyed in on every possession, which naturally resulted in increased usage, more shot attempts, and stretches where the offense depended heavily on her ability to create her own scoring opportunities. Earlier in the season, there were certainly nights when it was reasonable to point out that Indiana's offense leaned too heavily into isolation basketball, occasionally limiting the involvement of the rest of the lineup. From a pure basketball perspective, those observations had merit. But this game? This was something entirely different. Tonight, music, the basketball moved with purpose and precision. The ball zipped around the perimeter. The spacing was nearly flawless. Every cut had intention, and no possession became stagnant. There was no unnecessary dribbling, no forced hero ball, and no player trying to dominate every touch. Instead, every member of the Fever lineup embraced their role, creating one of the smoothest and most efficient offensive performances the team has produced all season. And that brings us to the player who quietly controlled the entire rhythm of the game, Caitlin Clark. Music? Leading up to tip-off, social media was flooded with speculation about why Clark's playing time would be limited. Rumors spread in every direction, but the real explanation was far less dramatic and entirely rooted in smart medical management and responsible coaching. Music. Clark herself made it clear before the game that she would be operating under a carefully monitored restriction of approximately 20 to 25 minutes, and head coach Stephanie White confirmed that exact plan. The objective wasn't about strategy or punishment. It was about protecting Clark's long-term health, allowing her body to continue recovering, rebuilding her conditioning, and easing her back into full game speed after dealing with recent back soreness and groin discomfort. Music. Within that carefully managed workload, Clark delivered exactly what her team needed. In just 24 minutes and 25 seconds on the floor, she put together a masterclass in modern point guard play. She never felt the need to chase highlight reel shots or force her way to a 30-point performance in order to control the game. Instead, she dominated with intelligence. Clark finished with 12 points, 6 assists, and 7 rebounds while posting a solid +6 rating. More importantly, she completely dictated the pace of the contest. She served as the unquestioned conductor of Indiana's offensive orchestra, pushing the tempo in transition, making the correct reads out of the pick and roll, music finding Sophie Cunningham in rhythm for wide-open three-pointers, delivering perfectly timed entry passes to Aaliyah Boston deep in the paint, and consistently making the extra pass that transformed good possessions into great ones. It wasn't the loudest statistical performance of her season, but it may have been one of her smartest. Every decision reflected patience, vision, and complete command of the offense, proving once again that controlling a game isn't always about scoring the most points. Sometimes it's about making every possession count.
If was to go to another team, she's not coming off the bench. They're going to implement her into the starting lineup, bro. Telling you right now. So the Indiana Fever was 38 of 68 from the field. The Aces shot bad from the field, man. They was 27 to 69. It's just something about when the Aces play the Fever, when Aaliyah Boston plays, it's a totally different game. Totally different game. I told y'all this last year. A'ja Wilson don't know what to do with Aaliyah Boston. She can't stop her. She bully her.
Those 6 assists now bring Caitlin Clark's total to 18 assists over her first 4 games since returning from her injury absence. That means she's averaging an impressive 4.5 assists per game, while playing under a carefully managed minutes restriction and following the team's recovery protocol. Music. More importantly, those numbers reinforce something that should erase any lingering doubts. Her elite playmaking instincts, her extraordinary court vision, and music, her unmatched feel for spacing and offensive timing haven't faded in the slightest despite the time she spent away from the court. If anything, they've remained every bit as dangerous as before. Now, to be completely fair and objective, one part of Clark's game is still working its way back. Her three-point, music, shooting rhythm remains a work in progress. She finished just 1 of 5 from beyond the arc, extending a recent stretch where her outside shot hasn't consistently fallen the way fans have come to expect. But that's exactly what makes this performance so impressive. When a player can completely dictate the pace and flow of a professional basketball game against the defending champions without relying on a hot shooting night, you're witnessing a basketball IQ that exists on another level. Clark's impact goes far beyond the box score. Her presence alone bends opposing defenses. Every defender is forced to account for her passing ability, constantly anticipating the next skip pass or backdoor feed, and that attention creates enormous amounts of open space for everyone else on the floor. As defenders collapse toward her vision, cutters slip free. Weak side, music, shooters find daylight, and Indiana's entire offense begins to flow more naturally. We also have to keep the proper competitive perspective when evaluating this victory. There's no denying that the Las Vegas Aces' music are not operating at full strength right now. Aya Wilson has visibly battled through physical limitations during this demanding stretch of the season, continuing to compete despite dealing with her own challenges. Meanwhile, the franchise that looked nearly untouchable during its back-to-back championship runs has unexpectedly fallen to an 8-15 record. That dramatic shift has changed the conversation around the league. When you think back to Coach Becky Hammon's confident defensive remarks earlier in the season, they now feel much less imposing music when viewed against the current reality. The defending champions continue to struggle against an Indiana Fever roster that many analysts dismissed before opening night as inexperienced, music too young, and lacking the depth to compete with the league's elite. Instead, the exact opposite is unfolding. The Fever are no longer trying to prove they belong. They're forcing everyone else to acknowledge that the balance of power may be changing. But what truly separates tonight's victory from Indiana's previous 2 wins over Las Vegas is one crucial difference. This time, Caitlin Clark was on the floor. She logged 24 music minutes, remained fully engaged throughout the game, contributed in every major statistical category, and played a meaningful role in one of the most lopsided victories over the defending champions in recent memory. In those earlier wins, Indiana's supporting cast demonstrated that they possessed music, the resilience, toughness, and collective talent to survive, and even thrive, without their franchise centerpiece. Tonight, music. They revealed something that should command the attention of every contender across the WNBA. They showed they don't simply know how to win with Clark. They know how to dominate with her. Even while their franchise star was operating under a controlled workload and embracing more of a facilitating role than a high-volume scoring role, the rest of the roster confidently absorbed the toughest physical responsibilities. Music executed on both ends of the floor and delivered a performance that looked every bit like a team capable of competing at a championship level. That may be the most significant message to come out of this game. Indiana isn't relying on one superstar to carry every possession anymore. They're becoming a complete basketball team, and if that growth continues, the rest of the league has every reason to pay attention.